Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be doing a story time. I've been asked to do the story time so many times, and I've been hesitant about it because it is my past, and you know, the past belongs in the past, but because I've been asked it so many times, I can't say no. I don't want anyone to think that, you know, I'm still living in my past. That's why I didn't do it for so long. But you know what, my past made me who I am, and so yeah, that's why I'm gonna be talking about it today. So I get so many questions asked, you know, after you guys have watched my Let's Be Real video or How to Be a Bad Bitch video. I got asked so many times, like, how did you get out of that relationship? How did you like be able to just get up and like go? Going back to high school, I was in my relationship with my ex, and everything was good in the beginning. Everything was just, you know, like a fairy tale for me because I was 16 and this was my first boyfriend, my first real boyfriend, and I was so like obsessed with him. I just loved everything about him. But even like though I didn't know anything about him, I just loved him, and I wasn't really like thinking, because you know, when you're young, when you're 16, you're not thinking. Like, you honestly think like this is the person that you're gonna be with for the rest of your life kind of deal. I just kept on thinking like, this is the person I'm gonna marry, and I'm gonna have kids with them, and we're gonna get our first apartment together, and you know, blah blah blah. He's gonna be there when I graduate high school. When I got to my junior year of high school, things were already bad, as far as me not trusting him and things like that, because he did get his car when I was a junior in high school. He got his first car, and he was living with me at the time. He was living in our house. My mom allowed it because he had nowhere to go, and we weren't sleeping together or anything like that. My mom didn't allow that. Like, I had to sleep with her, like in her room. You know, every time that I would get out of school, like, I looked forward to seeing him. Like, I looked forward to seeing him every single day. Like, I would be like counting like the hours and the minutes that I was in school. Like, oh, I can't wait to go see him. Every time I would get home from school, he wouldn't be home, and I would just kind of be like, okay, where is he? And I'd be texting him, and he wouldn't text me back, and he wouldn't call me back. So this is when I started going crazy. I started being like psycho, and I call and call and call and call. Girl, I put GPS on his phone. I was on Find My iPhone. I was on that bitch every single day. I was like, where are you? Where are you at? I just wanted to hear him say it because he didn't know I had his phone on GPS. So I'd be like, I already know where you're at. The last thing that you're gonna do is make me crazy and then call me crazy, because yeah, of course, I'm gonna be crazy about my man. Like, you're my man, I'm gonna be crazy about you. Like, wouldn't you want me to be crazy? Because if I'm not crazy, that means I don't care about you, right? Okay, so I GPS him, and he'd be over his friend's house. And every single day, he'd be over his friend's house. And I'd be like, okay, what do your friends have that I don't? Now, mind you, these were the kind of people that I did not want to be around, because they just lived a completely different lifestyle from me. I didn't live that type of lifestyle, and I was, frankly, I was uncomfortable every time I was there, like trying to like hang out and trying to like fit in. I didn't want to fit in. But me and him were always getting in fights and stuff over that, because you know, they'd be talking shit about his girl, and when he'd be with them, I know he was talking shit about me too. Like, you're talking shit about your girl like in front of your friends. Like, they were always thinking that I was better than them, and that wasn't the case. It was just that I just wasn't accustomed to that lifestyle, and I didn't want to fit into that lifestyle. That's not what I wanted. I wanted better for him, and I wanted better for me. And because of that, me and him were always bumping heads. Me and his friend's girl were always bumping heads, because we didn't see eye to eye on things, and she always felt like I thought I was better, and that was clearly not the case. Like, that's my man. I want to spend time with my man. Just like you're home with your man, my man should be home with his girl. Like, it got to the point where my mom was just like, this is too toxic. I don't want him here if this is how it's gonna be, because me and him were fighting all the time. I was always crying and being mad. I was mad all the time. It would lead to fights with my brothers. It would lead to fights with my mom, and my mom was just kind of like, this isn't you, like I don't want this. So he just kind of left. At the time, his friends had gotten their first apartment, and they were just kind of like, hey, like you can stay with us. Now mind you, his friends were also there with their girlfriends. Like they were all living together. So I was there every single day because I was like, hey, like I don't live here, but I want to be like a part of like the group. Like I want to fit in with you guys. And these are like other set of friends, but like the other people that he was always with lived in that same apartment complex. So like they were always together, and I didn't like that shit, but whatever. I had no say in anything because, you know, I was only his girl or whatever. I was there every single day, and he was the type that wanted to like smoke and like drink and things like that, and I didn't want to do that. Like I tried to like fit in, and his friends would tell me like, Dinah, just be like accustomed to his lifestyle, get accustomed to his lifestyle, and he'll come back to you. And I was just like, okay, like I'll try. But every single time I do it, I'm just like, this isn't me, like this isn't who I am, this isn't what I want. Me and him would fight all the time because I didn't trust him. Like I'd be there waiting for him, even at his friend's house, like looking like an idiot because he'd be out like at the club. He'd be driving everybody around everywhere except me. Like he never asked me to go anywhere. He never asked me to do anything. And mind you, I was 18 at this time, like this, but it was always a problem. Like no, he wanted to go out with his friends. If I wanted to go to the movies, he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go with his friends, and he wanted to go out to the club. And I was like, I'd be home like crying and in tears and like screaming for help because I'd just be there like, why, like what is wrong with me? Like why doesn't he want to spend time with me, kind of thing. That's why like I think about these things in my head, and I'm just like, Anthony, where were you, bro? Like where were you when I needed you? And he was nowhere to be found. Like my heart was being broken from left to right, and you were nowhere to be found. My brother had a girlfriend at that time, and me and her, like she was part of the same lifestyle as my ex liked to be around, and they knew of each other because my brother's ex was living in the house before he was living in the house. Them two worked perfectly together because of how they were, and me and my brother were just too good for them, and we learned the hard way. Like trust me, me and her were always getting into something, like always, and she'd be there like threatening to fight. This girl that I knew that I was good friends with when we were back in middle school, because I used to date her cousin back in middle school, like he was like my first kiss or whatever. Don't make me get into that because that was not me. Me and her were friends. She moved into that apartment complex, and she would hang out with my brother's ex. She was kind of trying to like piece everything together. Like she was trying to get us to like be cool and like be cordial and things like that. I trusted her. I didn't talk to her anymore like we used to talk like back in middle school, but I trusted her because she knew who I was. She knew what kind of girl I was. I just really can't believe that I really dealt with that shit, bitch. Really. She decided to move in, but honestly, like I feel like she moved in because she met my ex at the time. She met my man. When I wasn't there, it turned out that my ex would be like at her house like every day, and everyone in the house I was cool with. Like everyone that he was living with I knew, and like they knew about it. They knew what he was doing, but they would kind of like turn their cheek. And I know that in their hearts and in their minds they were just like, what he's doing isn't right. But obviously like it wasn't their place to say anything, and I get it now. Like before I was so mad, I was so upset. I was just like, you know, you guys were my friends, like what the fuck? But I failed to really think about it. I was like, they didn't owe me loyalty, like they owed him loyalty. And I was thinking the whole time like they owe me something, like those are my friends. Like no, like my man's friends are not my friends. There was only but one person in that house that would come to me and be like, Dinah, I just wanted to let you know, like I saw them hang out outside, like they were all like flirty. And I didn't want to believe her because this was the weekend that I went out to go to my cousin's, and they live in South Florida, and it was their Sweet 16, and I really wanted him to come with me, and he just kept on saying no. He started acting different. He kept on saying no, and I was like, why not? Like my family's gonna be there. You haven't met my family. This is important to me. And he just kept on saying no. I remember me and him got in a really bad argument about it, and that's when he started hitting me, scratching me. and he was just telling me like, no, I'm not fucking going with you, so get it through your fucking head. And I just was like, so like, I had scratches and bruises all up on my arm when I went to go see my cousins. And I remember my dad seeing it, and he was like, is there something you want to talk to me about? And I was just kind of like embarrassed, because I was like, I can't believe that I would let someone do that to me. When I came back from that weekend at my cousin's in South Florida, I just kept telling myself, because the whole time I was there, he was not talking to me. He wasn't texting me, he wasn't answering my phone calls. When I would call his friends to see, like, they would just kind of be like, oh, yeah, he's not here, I don't know where he is. And I was just like, something's not right. So something told me when I got back to get inside his Facebook. Now, mind y'all, I didn't know his Facebook password. All I knew was his email. And I was like, bitch, best believe I'm getting in his shit today. I remember I was sitting there on the couch with my brothers, like, watching TV, and I'm just like trying to get through it. I'm just like, I'm gonna get it. I wanna get in here. Y'all, I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed to tell y'all that I was a crazy bitch, okay? I finally get into it. Y'all, I remember the messages that I read. I remember every single one. I'm not trying to call them out. That's why I'm not saying any names. But I remember like reading the messages, and I was literally so hurt. I was so hurt to the point where you get that shaky feeling when you find out something. You get that shaky feeling and your heart is like racing and pounding. And I remember I just couldn't breathe. I was just like I dropped my phone. And I remember my brother, if you know who my brother is, if anyone who's watching this knows us, my brother be laughing about everything. So he looked at me, he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like laughing. He's like, are you good? Like, what's up? So I told him, and I was just like, he's like cheating on me. And I already knew that he was, but I didn't want to believe in it. And my brother was like, Dinah, like, you already knew this. Like, I already knew this. I could have told you that. Like, you didn't have to go and look for it. Like, why go and look for it? Like, you better act like you know who the fuck you are and who gives a fuck, you know, kind of thing. And when I found out about it, I called his friend, and I was like, let him know that I know. And I just hung up. I left that. I was like, let him know that I know, and he ain't low. To me, he was like, you're a fucking hoe, blah blah blah. That's why you fucked the whole football team. And mind you, he knew who the fuck I was, and he knew I didn't do any of that shit, and I would never do any of that shit. But you know, when they get caught, they're like, oh, you fucking hoe, that's why you did this, or whatever. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I go crazy. I start, you know, talking shit, because all I did at that time was talk shit, and I shouldn't have did that. Like, I honestly shouldn't. Like, honestly, if I knew everything that I know now, I would thank the girl. Like, I would thank her every single time. Like, I think to myself, if I were to see her, I'd thank her for what she did, and I would apologize. Like, honestly, apologize for talking shit, because she didn't owe me that loyalty. He did. Yes, I knew her. We were friends at one point, but she still didn't owe me shit. He did. I took him back. I met someone my spring break of high school, and he changed my life. He changed the way of my thinking. He changed just everything, like everything for me. Like, he made me believe that there would be something for me. Like, there's more, there's better out there. Like, don't ever think that there's not better, and you deserve that. Me and him didn't work out because I just wasn't ready, and I just felt like he just deserved a lot more than me, and I just kind of backed away, and I was just like, I'm not ready for this. So I went back to my ex. But I was different. I started thinking different about myself. I started thinking about myself more at higher stature, and I was just like, I love who I am. I'm growing to love who I was, and I just started realizing I just felt like I couldn't be alone, and that's why I kept going to my ex so many times, because I just felt like I've been with someone for so long, I'm afraid to be by myself. I started working, you know, I graduated high school. I felt good about that. I felt proud of myself. I started working. I had 2 jobs. You know, I was getting my own money. I started seeing things change for myself. I started figuring out who I was and what I loved and what I loved to do and what I loved about myself. And I started changing my hair, and I just started dressing differently. I just started figuring out who I was. And with that, I kept on thinking, like, there's gonna be someone who's gonna come into my life. He's gonna change my life. He's gonna value everything that I am and everything that I stand for. I was still with my ex. He took me, you know, for my birthday and everything. I had plans, but mind you, I paid for everything. I paid for my own birthday, and I still got it thrown in my face. And then I think that was just like the last straw for me. A week after that, I was just like, I'm just done. I'm just done with you. I can't do this anymore. Within that time, I was working, and my manager, it's just funny how the universe works. My manager at the time, she was talking to someone who happened to be Anthony's best friend. And when I had met him, he went back to Anthony and was like, I need you to meet her. I want you to meet her. I know she'd be perfect for you, because my manager at the time had told him my story and everything that I was going through, because me and her always talked. And, you know, I kept telling her, like, all the time, like, I'm just having a hard time, like, getting out of it, but, like, I'm trying to, like, get out of it. I really want to get out of it. So he told her about Anthony, and she kind of came to me, she was like, Dinah, like, we want you to meet someone. Now, mind you, she hadn't met Anthony yet either, but from what he was telling her, that he had just gotten out of a relationship, and that he would be perfect for me and I'd be perfect for him. And I just remember her telling me, like, Dinah, you could just give it a try. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, and this was a blind date. I had no idea who Anthony was. I had no idea who he was at all. Why not just give it a try? Like, he's a good person, you know, and I had met his friend, and I liked who his friend was, and I was just like, you know what, I have good vibes. Like, I have good vibes, no bad vibes, so you know what, let's just give it a try. So they were like, okay, we'll meet up on, I think it was like a Friday night or something like that, and that time he had, I guess, I was ready. I was like, yes, okay, we're gonna do this. But Anthony was like, on his side, he was like, I can't. And that's when I started getting like, is it me? Like, did I, like, what's going on? Because he was already texting me, like, before we met. He texted me around 8 o'clock, I remember, because I was like, he texted me at a good time. I was like, he didn't text me too late, he didn't text me too early, so it was perfect. And I just remember I was sitting in bed, he had texted me, and I just got butterflies, and I didn't even know who he was. Like, I didn't know who he was, and I just loved how he, like, texted me, and how he was, like, when, you know, the things he's asking me, and I don't know, I was just like, I have good vibes. Like, through the phone, I have good vibes. And he couldn't go that night, and I was just like, why not? Like, and I got nervous, because I was like, did I do something? Like, did I say something? Maybe, you know, he's that kind of guy, and I was just like, I don't know. Come to find out, it was because he hadn't gotten a haircut, and he couldn't see me like that. So the next day, they planned the same thing, and he was ready. He got a haircut. So we met each other, and I just remember, like, he was sitting on the other side, and I was just sitting, and I had curled my hair. I had gotten a lipstick, like, that week, a new lipstick from MAC, and I was like, I'm wearing this tonight. And it was like a reddish orange lipstick. It felt so pretty. Like, my hair was curly, and it was long, so I had popped in my hair extensions and curled them. I still remember what I was wearing. I looked so pretty, and I just remember, like, oh my goodness, I couldn't stop looking at him. I loved the way he laughed. I loved his green eyes. I was just like, oh my god. I just had good vibes when I met him. Like, he was so happy, and he just gave me so much hope, because I was just like, I'm not used to being around someone so happy and so full of energy, and just, I was like, maybe it's too much, but that's usually how I am. And that's why I was just like, wow, like, I was trying to be cute, you know, and I was just like, whatever, like, you know. After that day, like, we just talked more, and he invited me over his house, and I just loved who he was and how I felt around him. So my ex wouldn't stop bothering me for, like, the longest time, because he really thought that this was like just for the time being, like, I was gonna come back to him. And I don't know why the fuck he thought that, because he saw how happy I was, like, and I know it scared him a little bit. So my ex didn't stop bothering me until, like, recently, until, like, I want to say January of this year. I'm telling y'all, like, I kept on thinking, like, if he leaves me, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, bitch. I'ma be me. I'ma do me. That's what I'm gonna do, okay? Like, what the fuck? Like, you needed me more than I needed you. Like, I didn't need you. If y'all are currently going through this, tell that boy bye and get to stepping, because trust me, he needs you a lot more than you need him. It's just, you know it and he doesn't yet. So you can't even be pressed about the whole situation. Like, leave his ass and see how fast he come running back. Trust me. I didn't mean to make this story time so long, so I don't even know, like, because I want you guys to know that there is hope. Like, don't ever lose faith. Don't ever stop believing that there's someone out there that is made for you, because trust me, I kept on thinking, like, for so long, like, this is how guys are. This is how all men are. Like, trust me, not all men are the same and not all women are the same. They're all different in their own way. You know, people are sent to teach you something. This is how my life was meant to go, and I was one of those blessed people to have found my soulmate at such a young age. And it's like one of those things when you know this person is your soulmate. Me and Anthony think the same way. We do the same things. We honestly, we have the same soul. Like, I feel like we have the same soul, and I was one of those really blessed people to meet someone like that. I want you guys to know that you may be going through it right now, because I know that this is just something that a lot of people go through, and I know you don't want to because you don't ask for it, obviously, but I want you to know that from experience, this too shall pass. It will pass, and you will meet that special someone who your heart lives for, that your soul needs. And I can't even stress that enough. Like, someone who went through that pain, so I know how it is, but you will overcome it. You will do it. As much as you don't see it happening right now, I promise that it will, and it will happen at your own pace, at your own time. So don't beat yourself up about it, because it will happen, I promise. And you look back at all that pain and you'll just be like, you know what? Thank you to that pain that gave me this understanding. Thank you to that person and that person and that person for putting me in a position of having to let go and having to, you know, move on, because you don't have a choice. You get to that point where you're just like, I really don't have a choice. Like, if I still want this mental health to be good, I don't have a choice. But I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I hope I helped reach out to some of you guys. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.